Welcome, curious learners, to the deep dive. Have you ever felt like your customer data is just, well, everywhere, trapped in different silos, making it almost impossible to really know your customers or what they need right now? Today, we're cutting through that noise. We're diving headfirst into the powerful and, let's be honest, sometimes complex world of Adobe solutions. We've been digging through a ton of stuff: industry blueprints, vendor docs, market analysis reports. Our goal: to pull out the most important bits, giving you a shortcut to understanding how you can leverage this whole ecosystem for, truly seamless, smart customer experiences.
And what's really interesting, I think, is seeing how these different pieces are actually designed to fit together to give you that holistic view, which is so critical for elevating your digital presence. Just a quick note, all this info is based on publicly available data, standard industry frameworks, common practices. It's really meant for general knowledge sharing, helping you connect the dots.
Okay, perfect. So let's unpack this. We're going to touch on, well, quite a bit, unifying those customer profiles, delivering content, commerce, orchestration, analytics, all aimed at helping companies using Adobe really get the most out of that investment. So let's start at the core, the Adobe Experience Platform, AEP. If we're talking about building that unified view, what exactly is this foundation? Why is it so crucial?
Right. So think of AEP as maybe the central nervous system for all your customer experience data. It's built on some serious tech designed to handle massive streams of customer interactions, in near real time. This means the data is fresh, it's ready for action. It essentially acts as the super efficient hub for asynchronous communication across all the different Adobe tools.
Yeah.
It really is the engine powering everything else.
The engine. Okay, and if AEP is the engine, then that brings us to the real-time customer profile, or RCP. This sounds like maybe the GPS, giving you that immediate unified view of each customer. What makes RCP so powerful?
That's a great way to put it, actually. Imagine having, well, not quite a crystal ball, but something close, something showing you exactly what each customer is doing across every touch point, almost as it happens. That's RCP. It's not just dumping data together. It's actively building this dynamic, living picture of your customer. It merges all these different interactions, website clicks, app usage, maybe even offline data, into what they call a single source of truth. It uses this concept of a union schema, like a universal blueprint, basically, that understands interactions from anywhere. This is what lets you manage experiences personally and trigger actions in real time on any channel. And the more interactions you feed into it, the smarter these profiles get. They can even power machine learning models for, deeper predictive insights.
Okay, so practically speaking, for companies collecting data day to day, does this make things simpler or more complicated?
Definitely simpler in the long run. AEP has this thing called the Edge Network. It's a single optimized gateway for requests going to Adobe services like Target or Analytics. So what this means is you can deploy just one SDK on your website or app to use all these powerful server-side services. That really cuts down on the code weight on the front end, improves performance, big win there. Plus, there's event forwarding through this network. So data collected can be sent pretty easily to other places too, even non-Adobe destinations. Gives you a lot of flexibility.
Right, flexibility is key. And what about performance? Enterprises deal with huge amounts of data. How fast can AEP actually ingest this stuff? We need responsiveness, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For businesses, this means updates happen remarkably quickly. For streaming data going into that real-time customer profile, you're typically looking at updates within less than 15 minutes for most data, and under an hour for the broader data lake storage. These speeds are crucial. I mean, you can act on customer behavior as it happens, not hours or days later. That's what enables truly real-time personalization.
Okay, so we've got the understanding part covered with AEP and RCP. Now, how do we act on that understanding? Let's talk about building those customer journeys, starting with Adobe Commerce. We hear headless commerce thrown around a lot. What's the real impact for businesses? Is it worth the hype?
Well, Adobe Commerce is definitely a leader in the digital commerce space. It offers strong core B2C functions and, yes, those headless frameworks. Headless isn't just tech jargon. It's a strategic choice. It gives you incredible creative freedom. You can build totally custom front ends like a really slick React mobile app, maybe even experiment with AR or VR try-ons without messing up your existing web store. So massive potential for innovation. But, and this is important, it does shift a lot of the development and integration work onto your team. You need strong in-house tech skills. It's a trade-off, really.
Yeah.
Ultimate customization versus perhaps a faster, more standard deployment using their native tools like PWA Studio.
Makes sense. And how does that commerce engine connect with content management? Because, great commerce functions need great content to really engage people.
Exactly. They go hand in hand. Adobe Experience Manager, AEM, is the powerhouse here for content and digital assets. It helps merchants deliver those rich, personalized, content-driven experiences much faster. It combines sophisticated DAM digital asset management with AI features from Adobe Sensei for things like smart tagging or content personalization. The combination of Adobe Commerce plus AEM is really potent. The Commerce Engine drives the transactions, but AEM powers those rich, immersive interfaces that customers actually interact with, streamlines that whole content-to-commerce flow.
That sounds like a perfect segue into Adobe Journey Optimizer, or AJO. How does AJO pull all these different pieces together to manage customer engagement across channels dynamically?
Right, AJO. Another leader, this time in multi-channel marketing hubs. And it's natively connected to that real-time customer profile we talked about earlier. It uses that unified customer data to trigger messages and experiences automatically. Think about really timely stuff like abandoned browse or cart recovery messages set intelligently. Or even just efficient, personalized order confirmations through the customer's preferred channel. It essentially becomes the central hub for leveraging that streaming data, those customer profiles, and segmentation rules to automate critical touchpoints in the journey.
Got it. Now, the sources also mention Adobe Campaign. For companies maybe using both or thinking about moving, how does AJ interact with Campaign? Are there things to watch out for?
Yeah, that's a common question. So AJO and Adobe Campaign V8 can send messages on their own. There's integration available, so AJO can use Campaign's transactional messaging for email, push, SMS. But it's important to understand that Adobe's investment focus is split. Journey Optimizer is the modern cloud-native solution. Campaign, especially older versions, is more legacy. This can lead to a potentially complex upgrade path and maybe some functional differences, particularly around advanced segmentation, although Adobe is working on bridging those gaps. So companies really need to think about their long-term strategy there.
Okay, that's a key strategic point. And for those companies still running Adobe Campaign Classic, which, many still are, what are some operational best practices they need to nail for things like transactional messages?
Oh yeah, for Campaign Classic, the operational details matter a lot for delivery. Optimizing HTML file size is critical. Ideally, keep it under 100 KOB, maybe even 60-80 KOB for speed. Also, make sure all images are publicly accessible. Campaign Classic doesn't host images for transactional messages, so that can trip people up. And always use alt tags properly. Oh, and remember, template changes. They require republishing to take effect. You can't just tweak and go. These might seem like small things, but they really impact performance and whether messages actually get delivered reliably.
Good practical tips. Okay, let's pivot to personalization and testing. Adobe Target. Once you have that unified profile and the smooth content commerce setup, you need to tailor the experience, right? Make it feel personal. How does Target fit in, and what are its key benefits?
Adobe Target? Yeah, another leader, this time in personalization engines. It can work on its own, but its real power comes from integrating with AEP. Using AEP tags is definitely the recommended way, especially with those connections to Analytics, Journey Optimizer, and Real-Time CDP. When you connect Target to the Real-Time CDP, that's where it gets really exciting. You can suddenly use customer segments for web personalization that were just inaccessible before. We're talking real-time, like millisecond-level personalization, even on the very first page of customer visits. It also plays nicely with AEM, letting you use experience fragments or content fragments directly in Target activities, and it connects with AJO for offer decisioning. So it really ties that personalization thread through everything.
And what about understanding the entire journey? Beyond just clicks or single interactions, how does Adobe Customer Journey Analytics, CJA, go beyond traditional analytics?
CJA is a big step up from standard Adobe Analytics, specifically for that cross-channel view. The key improvements are, well, quite significant. Things like unlimited variables and events, you focus on dimensions and metrics without the old limitations. No more unique value limits, which was always a pain point. You can even alter historical data if needed. And crucially, you can combine data from multiple data sets really easily. Imagine pulling web data, call center logs, maybe even point-of-sale data into one analysis view. It's built to be this highly optimized reporting engine focused squarely on the customer journey, with much more user-friendly analysis tools than, say, traditional BI platforms. It really complements AJO's reporting by providing those much deeper cross-channel insights.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk CDP's customer data platforms. For businesses evaluating this space, what are the core questions they should ask, and how does Adobe's real-time CDP measure up?
Right, the CDP question. It's not just, do we need one? It's more like, can we actually ingest all our diverse data online, offline, maybe third party? Can we clean it, standardize it, stitch identities together across systems? And the kicker, can we then activate that unified view to deliver seamless experiences in real time? Adobe Real-Time CDP is, again, recognized as a leader here. Its focus is squarely on collecting and rationalizing all that data against the AEP data model, the XPM we mentioned, then making it actionable across both your marketing tech and your advertising tech stacks. Its roadmap looks pretty interesting too, things like data federation and even using Gen AI for creating audiences. It's essentially the evolution of what Adobe Audience Manager used to do, but much more comprehensive.
So it's really about that activation piece too. Now, most companies don't just use Adobe. What about other common tools like, say, Tilium for tag management or a CRM like Microsoft Dynamics 365?
Right.
How do these connect?
Great point. Very few companies are pure Adobe shops, so integrations matter. Take Tilium IQ, it's mostly a client-side tag manager. For really deep server-side integration with Adobe Experience Cloud, or AEP, you'd typically need a server-side connector, like their EventStream product. Otherwise, you might end up sending data separately to Adobe Analytics and Tilium from the browser or app without them truly talking to each other on the back end. Could create data inconsistencies. And for CRM, absolutely. AEP is built to ingest data from third-party CRMs like Microsoft Dynamics 365. You can bring that rich CRM data in, structure it using AEP schema, enhance it, and use it to build out that complete customer profile. For any of these external integrations, though, the key is planning. You need strong data governance up front, really clear use cases, and a solid integration strategy. With Dynamics 365, for instance, best practices usually say prioritize standard Microsoft integrations over building custom ones where possible. And definitely plan for peak data volumes. You don't want integrations failing under load. It's as much strategic as it is technical.
Strategy and planning. Okay. So wrapping this all together, AEP, Commerce, AEM, Journey Optimizer, Target, CJA, RTCDP, all these interconnected parts. What's Adobe's overall position in the enterprise tech landscape? What are the main takeaways for companies using this suite?
Well, you look at the analyst reports. Gartner, Forrester, and Adobe consistently shows up as a leader across multiple categories. Digital experience platforms, marketing hubs, personalization, commerce, CDPs. It reflects a really sophisticated, broad portfolio and a very extensive ecosystem. The flip side, it is complex. The reports often note that harnessing the full power requires significant technical resources, dedicated teams, and potentially a higher total cost of ownership compared to simpler solutions. The innovation is usually way out front, but companies need to be ready for the change management and the, frankly, complex implementation work required to get the maximum value. I think the biggest takeaway is it's a powerful strategic investment, but it demands a clear vision, strong governance, and dedicated resources to truly unlock that potential for amazing customer experiences.
Wow. Okay. We've definitely covered a lot of ground today. From that foundational Adobe Experience Platform and the real-time customer profile, right through to specific tools like Journey Optimizer, Commerce, Target, and how they, ideally, weave together for that holistic customer view.
It really does raise an important question, though, doesn't it? As businesses invest time, money, and resources into this kind of sophisticated, integrated suite, how do you effectively measure the actual return on that investment? Especially given the complexity and the constant evolution of these platforms. It's not just about the license cost, it's about the ongoing value extracted.
That is a great thought to leave our listeners with. Understanding the depth, the connections, and the ongoing commitment needed for these Adobe solutions is absolutely crucial if you want to unlock those truly personalized, real-time experiences for your customers. We hope this deep dive has given you a clearer map, a better blueprint for your own strategic thinking around the Adobe ecosystem. Thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive.